What's up, guys? RWBY Volume 2, Episode 2. This is my review. And before I get into my review, I just want to thank everyone who's actually interacted and, checked out my Volume 2, Episode 1 review last week. It was a very successful video. We got a lot of interaction. I got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new, people talking to me about the RWBY series, a lot of new fans. So I just want to thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate your interaction and support. But this episode, I can't, I'm still shocked. I'm in genuine, utter shock that Emerald, Mercury, and Cinder infiltrated Beacon. I don't know how that happens. First off, oh my goodness. First off, Cinder looks like she could, Cinder looks like very old. She not old in her actual old lady, old person, but I mean she doesn't seem like a student. You know what I mean? So it's how did they pull that off? I could picture Emerald and Mercury to some degree, but Cinder especially. And I feel like RWBY had this vibe, this off feeling about her. You actually saw how RWBY reacted, because RWBY did get slight glance of her in episode 1, in the first volume, in the first episode. So I was just oh my goodness. I knew things were getting dark. I knew tensions were rising. But at the end of the episode, when RWBY bumped into them, I thought that was going to be her uncle or something, because her Uncle Crow is mentioned. But I just couldn't process it when she actually looked up, and I was like they infiltrated Beacon, dude. And this is ridiculous, because it makes so much sense, and it's the perfect thing to do if you're in their position, because all of these kingdoms and all of these students and majority of the forces, hunters and huntresses are converging on Beacon for the Vital tournament, for the Vital festival. And it just makes perfect sense to just have everyone in the same place at the same time. Have foreign exchange students have a certain dorm room, and then the main people, the main students and the staff and such that are Beacon, and just destroy them from the inside out. So I am very on edge at this point, on edge in a good way, of how this is going to work out, how Ozpin's going to work his, how Ozpin's going to be able to keep everyone safe, how this is going to affect the students, when, in the dynamic change of, are they going to interact with Cinder and, Emerald and Mercury? Are they going to attempt to be buddy-buddy, and then these guys are just going to stab him in the back? It's a very dark premise, and I'm enjoying it very much, because we didn't get any type of tension like this in Volume 1. So very good. The entirety of the episode was very good, but obviously I'm going to break it down. I'm going to go in order and talk about great things. First off, that animation at the beginning with the ships, with the those airships coming in from the general, and that animation sequence, that animation scene with the airships and Beacon in the background, it just looked phenomenal. And I give kudos to this animation that they're working with now. It looks so much better, and it just makes the anime a lot more better, a lot more enjoyable to watch. And not to say that Volume 1 wasn't enjoyable, it was enjoyable overall, but I'm just saying it's better. You didn't think it was going to get better, but it got better. We are introduced to James Ironwood. He is the headmaster at an academy in Atlas. And if you guys checked out the Volume 2 trailer, he is also, I believe he is the headmaster in charge of the academy that Penny goes to, the school that Penny goes to, because it seems he comes from a military background, and from his team, I guess you want to say, the students that go to his school, they seem very militaristic, I guess you want to say, if that's even a word. They are very high echelon. They resort to a lot of weaponry regarding futuristic weapons and stuff like that, which is probably why which is why Penny has some sort of a robotic sense to her. They have those wannabe RoboCops or stormtroopers, whatever you want to call them. So anyways, we got introduction to him, James Ironwood, formerly casually known, and it seems like him, Glinda, and Ozpin have a history together. Maybe they went to academies together in the past. Maybe they're just old friends. But it seems like they were trying to link up, get back in touch with each other after not seeing each other for a very long time. Glinda didn't want anything to do with that. And him and Ozpin start talking. I don't know if he's into alcohol or anything, because I'm curious as what was in his flask when Ozpin gave him coffee, and then he slipped something into his coffee. Usually flasks contain alcohol or something like that, or soup. But I doubt he put soup in his coffee. But the the dynamic changes and the conversation shifts more towards what Ozpin was talking about the previous episode, which is a war is coming. And they got hints from Crow in Volume 1. Queen has pawns. They don't know what that means, but apparently it's to imply that Cinder, Torchwick, the White Fang are moving forward with their plans, and the Queen has pawns, and the pawns are moving out, and Ozpin has to move out his pawns as well. Ozpin has a very strong sense of wanting to protect his students, wanting to protect the world of Remnant, and maintain the image and the stability of peace. He doesn't want the civilians to be worried or anything, like when those airships were coming in, all those soldiers. And I can understand that. And it just blows my mind that eventually these kids, they're having their great time. We saw it last episode with the food fight. We saw it this episode with the board games and the whole dynamic interaction in the library. But these students, man, they're going to lose their innocence, and it's going to be very enjoyable to watch, but at the same time very heartbreaking, especially if things turn out to be more darker, and if these kids end up seeing things and experiencing things, somewhat like Blake, being a part of the White Fang, being a part of protests, seeing riots and stuff like that with her people. So that was basically the first bit, the interaction between Ozpin and Ironwood about, the upcoming battle, upcoming scale war. Towards the middle, though, was it came back down, the tension came back down, the dark theme came back down, and we got some interaction with Team RWBY, Team Juniper. We got formally introduced to Sun's friend, who is formerly known as Neptune. Neptune Vasilius is his full name. He's part of Sun's team. He was introduced last episode, but formally introduced this episode, and he was already trying to put the moves on Weiss. So I don't know about you guys out there who are trying, who have your own little pairings for Weiss, like Weiss and RWBY or Weiss and Blake or anything like that. But it could potentially be Weiss and Neptune, and John was getting a little bit, he was getting very jealous of the situation because he's trying to put the moves on Weiss since last volume, and then this volume some pretty boy just comes in and just steals the show from him, steals his thunder. But I definitely like the library scene, that cool ass battle, card game, board game that they were playing, Battle of Remnant, I guess you want to say. And I'd be pretty gassed if that actually turned into an actual thing, if Rooster Teeth actually put some intricacies to it and actually made that a legitimate board game. I think I would honestly buy that and play it with my friends or anybody who's interested in RWBY. But I loved the dynamic, interaction. We got RWBY and Weiss like overreacting to their turns and their rounds, and then we got Yang as well using the reference, "You just activated my trap card," which reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh. Obviously that classic reference, "You just activated my trap," because there's like a million traps in the anime. But I definitely liked it. It was very enjoyable. I had a smile on my face the whole time. And you also get to see the type of environment, I guess you want to say, Team RWBY from Team RWBY compared to Team Juniper. Team RWBY, they don't care about books. They don't care about studying. They just want to have fun, have a good time. They're playing board games in the library. Meanwhile, Team Juniper, the only one that's actually doing their work is Lyren and Pyrrha, while Nora dreams about pancakes, most likely pancakes that Ren is cooking for her, and then John's just reading a comic book, which Pyrrha is like, "Hey, yeah, do some work, do something." So I really enjoyed the dynamic. It was very intriguing. It was very enjoyable. I had a smile on my face the entire time. I don't know if there was any references amongst the board games, any type of Rooster Teeth Easter eggs this episode. Let me know if there were any that you guys noticed that I didn't. So that was very enjoyable. That was very awesome. That was very interesting and intriguing, and I very enjoyable. I really liked it a lot. And then when it comes back, we get the dark concept at the beginning, tensions rising. We get the little casual, lighter mood in the middle, and then towards the end, in the very end, things get very, 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 very interesting. Things are getting very dark, and I'm very excited. So Blake, everybody's very nonchalant about this. All of the organizations, all of the the past things that have been happening with Torchwick, the White Fang, Cinder, all the dust shipments getting stolen, stuff like that. And Blake's the only one who's on edge. I don't, call me crazy, but I feel like because she is a cat, she does have that sixth sense for things. And, she's the only one who's uneasy about, this upcoming war, this upcoming scaling battle, because she claims that she knows the White Fang like nobody else. She probably knows a darker side to them, a more savage part of them, even if you will. I don't know who the leader of the White Fang is, but just the fact that after this leader took over, the White Fang just went downhill in terms of their, peaceful organizations and stuff like that. And her whole interaction with Ozpin, talking to her about being who you are and maintaining peace and stability and stuff like that, was very interesting. I don't know if any of you guys also noticed, but his cane, I think they remodeled his cane this season, and I feel like it's like a sword, like a cane sword. And with this whole talk of eventual wars and battle, I'm wondering if the teachers are actually going to get in on it, because last episode we saw Glinda, we saw a little bit of her semblance. Volume 1, we saw Professor Port. He has like this horn slash dual axe weapon, and then Ozpin having this cane sword. It would be pretty awesome to see these teachers go in, like display some of their abilities as hunters and huntresses. Not to mention we got a little hinting of Crow this episode. So I'm wondering if we'll see him. We'll see like his scythe work, because he's the one who taught Ruby everything she knows, and I'm really excited to see Crow and see like his scythe his scythe skills. But and I really like how Team RWBY came through for Blake, reassuring her, especially Weiss, with the fact of season 1, their whole interaction of trying to understand each other more and be there for one another and come to your teammates when something's bothering you. Don't leave it bottled up inside. And the whole chair scene. I just loved like the quirky things that happened this episode. Like I said, the library scene with the card games, like Weiss and Ruby particularly, with their over dramatic, and then when Weiss was asking her, hey, tell me what's wrong, she like stood up on the chair and then she like fixed herself and she was like, okay, I'm gonna come back down, I'm gonna be proper. So I like that too. Also, one more thing I want to address, two things I actually want to address. Number one, Weiss mentioned, she was like, I understand we have busted up nightclubs and tried to have our own freedom and stop burglars. The fact that she mentioned blowing up nightclubs makes me assume that the yellow trailer, Yang's trailer, is something that happened in the past. Maybe during this this time skip from Volume 1 to Volume 2, because why else would she mention that? She mentioned blowing up nightclubs, and we saw Yang's trailers. She definitely destroyed that nightclub, destroyed all of those, dancers, Melanie and Melsha, and, everybody else there, Junior. But at the same time, it's like we haven't even been introduced to them yet, so I wonder why she mentioned that. I don't know if that was like an Easter egg alluding to the trailer, or alluding that that trailer will be relevant in the future, or anything like that. And second of all, and this came from a subscriber, I forgot your name, I'm so sorry, but this like blew my mind, all right? So the black trailer, Blake's trailer, okay? Blake's trailer showed off Adam, and it showed off, the train that they were heisting. The White Fang, from the trailers that we've seen so far, Volume 2, suggests that they're going to be using dust-infused mechs in all of their organizations, all of their organizations and all their crimes and stuff like that moving forward. What was told from me from the subscriber is that maybe instead of the black trailer being in the past with Adam, that's going to be potentially something in the future, because she did come from the White Fang and she could already know Adam, which is why she was doodling a picture of him last episode, and that the events that are happening in that trailer is something that's going to be in the future. Because think about it, the White Fang, this whole time, the White Fang has been organized. They have been doing a lot of their operations through airships and through foot soldiers. They haven't had any type of mechanized soldiers or mechanized spiders like in that trailer. And since this the Volume 2 trailer revealed that mechs are going to be introduced, maybe that's what it later leads to. Maybe Blake is going to go back to the White Fang, talk to Adam, and be like, hey, I need your help. I need you to help destroy this organization, this White Fang, from the inside out with all of their shipments and stuff like that. And that's why she cut the train. Why she ended up leaving him in the end is very unknown to me when it comes to this theory. But I just wanted to address that. That was very interesting, and I wanted to bring that up. But Team RWBY is going to be going to the rescue. They're all paired together. They're going to work together to find out what is actually happening behind the scenes. But like I said, dude, that infiltration, Cinder, Emerald, Mercury are inside of Beacon right now, as we speak, in the anime at least. And it just blows my mind as to what their plans are going to be. And, I'm very scared, especially for RWBY. She was in the hallway by herself with these three. They could have, attacked her or something. But ultimately, a phenomenal episode, very informative. We got a lot of development with the current theme of things and how things are transitioning, how things are working out. I'm looking forward to more character introductions, the rest of Sun's team perhaps. Also, you know, the rest of, you know, General Ironwood's team. You know, if we're going to see Penny again, is she in the scene, on the scene, and how Cinder and company are going to be working in terms of their operations from within Beacon, when are they going to strike and all that stuff. But ultimately, that's all I've got, and I'm also wondering when Velvet Scarletine is going to be reintroduced. But that's all I've got for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to like. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments. Let me know anything you had to say about the episode, anything that I left out or that you want to talk about that I mentioned, and be sure to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.